Good afternoon, everybody, the presenters, and the management and authority of Texila American University. I really appreciate you for the privilege given to me to participate in the e-conference. I participated in the last one, the one that was held last year, but it was not in this magnitude. This is a step ahead, and I really appreciate the authorities of this great university. My coordinator, I thank you as well. My topic is the paradox of psychological testing as assessment tools. And I tried to define what psychological tests or testings are. They are the written, visual, or verbal evaluations to assess cognitive and emotional functioning of clients. Psychological assessment can also be defined as the instrument designed to measure unobserved constructs. What are these unobserved constructs? They are those unobservable variables. They are latent. They cannot be reckoned with directly when you are in contact with clients or patients. And so you cannot measure them directly either. Those are unobserved constructs. What are psychological tests? They are tasks, they are problems that respondents must solve. Otherwise, there will not be a way forward. In carrying out psychological tests or assessments, there are some facts that must be established. Number one, they must come in form of questionnaires. And these questionnaires must be valid before they can be taken serious. They must be reliable because before they can be taken serious. They must be specific, that is, they must go straight to the point and hit the targets. They must be standardized. They must fall within the gap, within the scope of world research standards, and they must be objective. The history of psychological assessments or tests can be traced back to the days of that idiosyncratic physician, that man from Vienna called Franz Joseph Gall. He lived from 1758 to 1828. That man propounded the science of character divination. Psychological assessment can also be referred to as faculty psychology, theory of brain. Even some scholars refer to it as the science of the mind. In the 19th century, 18th to 19th centuries, when this thing was hatched or incubated by this man called Franz Joseph Gall, tests were done through two major ways. One, phrenology. What is phrenology? Phrenology is that theory propounded by that man called Franz Joseph Gall. And secondly, it was done through physiognomy. Physiognomy is supposed to be the art of judging character from facial characteristics. A general form of appearance. You judge somebody, you judge a client or a patient through his facial expression. It is also called anthroposcopy, which means looking at a patient or somebody that is sitting in front of you and taking some decisions. That didn't go down well with modern day scientists. In psychological tests and assessments, what are the purposes? Why do we carry out these tests? Why do we carry out psychological evaluations? Why do we carry out psychological appraisals? To assess mental abilities, to assess attributes. What are the hidden things, latent things in the life of the patient sitting in front of you that you can harness, that you can bring out and make him or her to come back to reality that is accepted by the society. Purpose of psychological assessment: to assess achievements that have been made by clients and people, to assess personalities. This person sitting in front of me, who is he? What is his personality? What is he up to? What are his challenges? What is his present condition? Another purpose for psychological assessment or psychological tests is to assess neurological functioning of patients, to diagnose psychopathology, and even to screen job candidates. This was done severally in America after the Second World War. The people that had been in the military, in the armed forces, when they were rehabilitating them, they used this procedure to screen them. We also use psychological assessments or evaluation to determine personality strengths and weaknesses. These tests can be segmented or separated into different types. There's what we call achievements and ability tests. That one is commonly used for job screening and job placement. There is the personality tests to determine the state of the mental state of somebody, the nature, what makes up that particular person. There is the neuropsychological test, which deals with the state of the reasoning faculty of that person. And there is the infants and preschool assessment tests, which are carried out amongst young children and toddlers. Now, in carrying out psychological tests, it has been discovered that certain precautions must be put in place. Otherwise, the result we are going to get will negate the problem we intend to solve. In carrying out psychological tests and assessments, we require clinically trained examiners. That's number one. Number two, these tests are not supposed to be used as sole basis for diagnosis or diagnosing a particular problem or medical condition. Number three precaution: cultural and language differences may affect the performance of the examiner and the examinee, that is the client or the patient, because there may be a breakdown in communication. The level of motivation may affect test results. If the examiner or the counselor is ill motivated or not well motivated, it may affect the result that may come out. Any risk carrying out psychological evaluation has no significant risk. But the problem is, therein lies the paradox. Who are those that should be involved in carrying out this function? The truth is that professional qualifications essential to the use of psychological tests in counseling arose from a synthesis of knowledge, skills, and ethics over the years. While some professional groups are seeking to control and restrict the use of psychological tests, the American Counseling Association, for example, believes firmly that individuals have right to use psychological tests in counseling practice, and that this right is directly related to their competence. This competence is achieved through qualitative education, training, and experience. Qualitative education, training, and experience in the field of testing. The American Counseling Association in 2003 carried out a survey, and it constituted an ad hoc committee that was tagged or called Test Use Task Force, which discovered this particular paradox. What I'm saying in essence is that no one should be disqualified from carrying out psychological tests if he is adequately trained and has gone through the necessary exposure in the field of counseling. Now, how do we break down the competencies required in carrying out psychological assessment and evaluation? Number one, the skills in practice and knowledge of relevant theories are very, very germane. Number two, thorough understanding of testing theory and techniques of test construction and rehabilitation. Very, very important. Number three, anyone who will be involved in carrying out psychological testing must have a working knowledge of sampling techniques, norms, descriptive, correlational, and pediatric statistics of the subject before him or her. Number four.
Pauses. Hello, Mr.
Yes,
Boss.
please.
You got another 2 minutes to finish?
How many minutes, please?
Yeah.
How many minutes, please?
2 more minutes.
Okay. Let me quickly run. The ability to review, select, and administer tests appropriate for the clients. Because without proper understanding, the counselor will not be able to select or administer tests appropriate for the client's use. Then the skills in administration of tests and interpretation of test scores, very, very important. A counselor who must practice psychological tests or evaluation must be skilled in the interpretation of test scores. The knowledge of the impact of diversity on testing accuracy is also very, very important. Thank you very much for listening.